Hey guys! Alright. Plus 3 Umi Echoes and plus 1 Stranger Wrath. Let me plus those up. Figure might as well get started as quick as possible since I already wasted enough time earlier. Let's jump right into this game. And floss at the same time. They're not gone forever, but I published yesterday's VOD on Twitch, and I published the other one which had copyrighted music on YouTube. Yes, there contains heavy spoilers. Spoilers for Ultraman? I mean, I'll watch it, but let me get in as much good Umineko time tonight, and I will watch it at some point. If a person has charisma, people will interpret what they do in a positive way, even when they screw up. It's interesting. Okay, so what is the context of all this? It does sound kind of way when humans are one that they're about to enter. Yeah, that sounds good. We're looking to I'd like to look into season 2. Season 2 manga versus anime. Person has charisma. Small efforts aren't for nothing. If it was just the mansion's locks being undone, everything could be resolved by saying that someone forgot to lock up or that it was some kind of prank. After the Beatos, I like how they're called the Beatos. It's like her last name, Beatos. After the Beatos finish their mischief of unlocking and opening the window, they enjoyed the coolness of the wind and the brightness of the moon, then became gold butterflies and disappeared into the darkness. There was no way of knowing whether the window they had opened had actually been opened by them. The servants might have forgotten to lock up. Or one of the family might have opened it after the servants had locked up and forgotten to shut it again. Or maybe someone had played a prank. In the same way that none of those possibilities could be denied. It was also impossible to deny the possibility that a rich really had opened a window to enjoy the night breeze. Decorating the process. With just a little magic, even a mass-produced stuffed animal can be reborn as a wonderful, unique stuffed animal filled with a mother's love. Oh shit, is she saying Sakutaro was not handmade by her mother? So, Rosa lied about that? Makes you wonder what Anjay saw in episode 4. You actually don't want me to watch the video? I paused the video and it said to read Ultraman manga volumes 8 to 11. I would recommend reading those volumes first and watching the video. Okay. That sounds good. We could save it for later. The fact that she revived Sakutaro. In a way that truth that red truth was kind of like from the perspective of Maria. It's like a subset of Maria's version of the truth, which we didn't know Rose's version of the story necessarily. I don't know. Red truth is sometimes is weird, because like sometimes they do these like red truth statements of like, you know, sentenced to death, you know, or like, and I wonder if that's like, I sometimes wonder if that is like just them having fun with like shouting out red truths, or if it actually is going to play some significant part in the story of like how the true nature of like what red truths are all about, like how you can use them and stuff. Because there's like, from my understanding of logic, there's like there's certain statements in the English language like that you can make that have different levels of validity. It's like sometimes like let's say if you make like a either X is true or Y is true. If either of X or Y are true, or if both X and Y are true, then that sentence is a true statement. But if none of them are true, then that's a false. It's a false statement. But if you say X and Y are true, then both X and Y have to be true. Otherwise, that statement is not valid. But then another interesting thing is like there's also there's like certain if-then statements. Then if like let's say if X then Y, then an interesting thing about that statement, if both X and Y, if both X and Y are not true, then it's described in logic as still a true statement, because one falsehood is equating to another falsehood. And since they're both falsehoods, then you're just making I still don't quite understand that, but according to my logic class, like that was one thing that's a possibility in terms of like creating a true statement. So let's say if like you make a red statement like the sky is green, therefore Badler's hair is green, or something like that. I wonder if like you can make a statement like that in red. Am I talking about the difference between validity and soundness? I didn't really I don't really know what soundness means in logic terms, but with validity, I think it means like it has to be between two different statements, and if one sentence's truth or falsehood has to be directly equivalent to the other sentence's truth or falsehood. So like, let's see, how do I describe this? So, for example, if you're saying like something is not X or Y, if something is not X or Y, then that something is not X and Y. So like those two statements are valid, I guess. I think that's how it works. Yeah, I'm getting a little lost in it too. That probably I shouldn't really get too caught up with that. Even a mass-produced stuffed animal can be reborn as a wonderful, unique stuffed animal filled with mother's love. If you doubt it, it will be burnt. It will be burnt by the anti-magic toxin. If you believe it, the magic will become the truth. So the reason why I brought this up is like I'm wondering if like there's a possibility that red truths could be deceptive, like deceptive in their nature as well. Because if you have two false statements, if you have two false statements within the red truth, like it if this false statement is true, then this false statement is true. Then I wonder if that means you can make that into a red truth. It just because of the rules of logic, I guess. But this seems a little fishy. A conditional syllogism? Is that what it's called? I have to look this up. If A is true, then B is true. Okay. The power to repel evil magic may be necessary for a child of man. Validity means the argument where if the premises are true, then the conclusion must necessarily be true. Sound is referred to a valid argument with factually true premises. So, for example, an argument that would be valid but unsound is all birds can fly. Penguins are birds, therefore penguins can fly. I see. Okay. Right. So assuming A is true, then if B is a subset of A, then B must also be true. Well, what I'm seeing with the definition of conditional syllogism is that if A is true, then B is true. Uh, um, let's see. An example: if I do not wake up, I cannot go to work. It's not exactly what it's. It's kind of what I was referring to, but not exactly. Let's see if I can look it up again. Oh, I wrote down the notes on it, but let me go to the bathroom real quick. Hey, Dad. Some pretty stressful shit. I will pass that soon. Good luck on your theorizing. Oh, thanks, Dad. Well, I'm hoping you de-stress whatever you stressed out on. It's like what Or can you give me an example of what you're talking about, please? Yeah. Let me see if I can grab it. No. Wrote things down. Right, so you can have, according to my logic class, you can imply one, if one falsehood can imply another falsehood, and that could technically be a true statement. And one falsehood could be biconditional on another falsehood, and that could also technically be a true statement. So let's see, for example, like you could say aliens have taken over my brain. So no, I don't know. Actually, to find an example like this in the English language is really tough because there's so many like possibilities of like true and false statements. Like, I suppose if you say like something completely nonsensical, like for instance, sentenced to death, battler, you're death. Like, in a way, that's like maybe that's like a way of implying a falsehood from another falsehood. And still being able to keep make it into a red truth. In a way, it's like a statement said. It's like a statement that doesn't really mean anything. I don't know. I'm trying to find like a real world example of like what this means, like in the English language. It's because I was taking. Anyway, I was just trying to figure out why, you know, Knox was saying things like sentenced to death in red, like how you can say that in red. and like die battler and everything. So I'm wondering if Nox is able to say that in red, I wonder if that implies other like tricky ways of using the red truth. And it's not just like something like for flavor. Like, for instance, in the end of episode 4, or is it episode 5? In the end of episode 4, I think, where Beatrice is like, I am coming to kill you right now, Battler. I wonder if that's kind of similar to like a statement that Eleanor Knox used. Wait, Delanor, not Eleanor. That Delanor used, where it seems like you can use red truth in a lot of like flavorful situations, but maybe in that case, like it seemed like it was like something hinting at something else, like more. Yeah, her final riddle in the question arcs. Yeah, exactly. Like it seemed like it was like a well-meaning riddle, but judging by other ways other people used the red truths before, it could very well be just a deception on its own, considering how deceptive Beatrice has been in the past. I wonder, I mean, it does feel like a very climactic like riddle, like who am I? Like what is like my true purpose or whatever. But Beatrice has tricked me many times over. Okay. The power to repel evil magic may be necessary for child of man. However, it is part of the love of the human world not to burn away and defile love-filled magic. Right. The red only tells the truth. But when Beatrice says in red, like, I'm coming to kill you, Battler, it doesn't necessarily mean that Battler dies right then and there. Just like Delanor said, you know, death, 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 all the time to Battler in red. Like, she tried to, but it didn't actually follow through. Right. Good magic is the only kind I'm willing to allow. For all of the kinds, the best remedy is deny them, burn them away.
人の子らしい答え。話を戻すわ。ここまででわかることはやはり六軒島の夜の支配者と呼ばれた亡霊ベアトリーチェは存在しないということだわ。夜の屋敷で起こる不可解な現象の総称に過ぎない。すなわちベアトリーチェとは人物名ではなく現象名に過ぎないのよ。
If anything bizarre happens, all becomes the work of the Golden Witch. Any environment in which there could be a witch is in fact Beatrice itself.
それが累積して1986年に至る。これこそが真犯人が被っているベールなのよ。そしてそれを被っているのは紛れもなく この魔女たちの過去物語の時点ではそうも断言できよう。しかしその論法だけで1986年も戦い抜けるとは思えん。バカバカしい。そんなの誰かが戸締まりを忘れたに決まってるじゃないですか。
Someone obviously must have forgotten to lock up. Also, yeah, she said death in translation we're playing, but in the updated translation is translated as finished because she's saying deaths, which sounds like deaths, but so the red is the trial's now finished. Interesting.
それを言われると
Sentence to but then she says sentence to deaths. Oh yeah, I guess that's still truthful.
でも一度や二度のこと、それはつまりあなたが一度や何度も戸締まりの確認を忘れるドジで間抜けで。
シャノンだけじゃないよ。他の使用人の時にもいつも同じ窓が開いていたんだよ。
私も母さんに夜に廊下の窓を開けっぱなしにしたことはないかって聞かれて。
If I ever left a window in the hall at night. Oh, it's or it's just Umineko tonight. I'm gonna have to go to bed after Umineko anyway. And nothing to do with it, but she still got pissed. Just. Ooh.
何度も同じ窓でそういうことがあると薄気。それに厨房の料理道具が積み上がってて不気味な魔法陣だかの落書きがあったってのはもっとやばいだろ。
There were where the kitchenware was piled up in the kitchen with a creepy magic circle scribbled there. Huh. So someone's been pranking.
私じゃないです。私は多分辞めちゃった使用人の子に教えてもらったはずです。その日は私の勤務日じゃ、つまりはそういうことです。心霊スポットに尾ひれがつくように、あなたたち使用人も夜の屋敷の階段を少し面白がったりはしていませんでしたか？あなたがそうして魔女が存在するかのように語り、
つまりベアトリーチェの仕業ということになってる不気味な出来事すべて
Fake news. It's a disinformation campaign.
何かの偶然か事故、あるいは 面白がって誰かが捏造した根も葉もない噂話と、そう
そういうことベアトリーチェなんて。
Maria's not having it. I could tell Maria's ready to throw some hands with this rat.
ベアトリーチェはいる。
バトラさんはよくご理解されているようですね。そういう名の人間、あるいはそう自称して何かを行った特定または不特定多数の人間は存在するでしょうね。しかし私たちが期待して妄想するような黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェなんていう存在は全くにもってありその話を詳しく教えてはもらえませんか？あなたはベアトリーチェが、そして魔法を見せてもらったとでも言う。
いつも会ってる。六軒島に来るたびに会ってるもん。そしていつも楽しい魔法を見せてくれるの。
Denying the existence of the witch would always have the immediate effect of infuriating Maria. However, Erica, who didn't know how to avoid this topic, had challenged her head-on. But no matter how Maria tried to smooth over the matter of Beatrice's existence, she stood no chance of defeating the ruthlessly intelligent Erica in an argument. George and Jessica hurried to calm Maria down, but Maria's anger could not be settled by this point.
ぐっと魔法を使って見せた。それがどんな魔法か具体的に教えていただけますか？
いつも魔法でお菓子をプレゼントしてくれる。
Candy as a present. Just like in episode 2? With the Halloween candy?
ベアとは魔法でお菓子を生み出すことができる。
ポケットから出しただけじゃないんですか？
違うもん。魔法なの。すごいんだよ。空っぽのカップの中からいっぱいのキャンディーが湧き出したんだもん。
Tons of candies poured out of an empty cup.
へえ、そりゃすげえ魔法だな。
そうだね、確かにそれは魔法だ。
そうだよ、魔法だよ。本当に空っぽだったもん。ちゃんと中を確認したもん。
はあ？中を確認したもんって何？
エリカさんをよせて。
Erica's the detective. She's gonna get her answer.
子供の話じゃねえかよ。
それよりエリカ様、紅茶のおかわりでもいかがで。
Yeah.
ノーサンキューです。
Oh shit. Did she just knock the fucking tea out of her hand?
今大変知的な話をしています。外野は黙っているように。もっと具体的に教えてください。マリアさん、カップの中をちゃんと確認したとはどういう意味ですか？幸いここに今ひっくり返って中身が空っぽになったばっかりの紅茶のカップがありますし。どうぞこれでその時の状況を再現してくださいませんか？
Oh shit.
さあお願いします。さあ。
After holding the cup of black tea, which she had just overturned and was still dripping upside down over the table, Erica slammed it down hard and slid it over to Maria. Erica's eyes glowed repulsively, like those of a snake about to snap up a frog. Those eyes were ice cold and had a madness in them that made one want to avert their gaze. On the other hand, Maria was glaring furiously, her whole body shaking uncontrollably in the greatest expression of anger that a human can manage. The look on her face was frightening, not at all something one would expect to see a 9-year-old girl.
お二人ともおやめください。ベアトリーチェはね、こうやって空っぽのカップをね、テーブルの上に逆さに伏せておいたの。はい、それでそのまま開いたら飴玉が溢れ出してきたわけですか。それはすごい。それなら魔法ですよね。それならば。
Beth and the others tried to get between the two and calm them down, but it was no use. Erica is the detective. The two violently pushed aside the others. The little girls were not going to let these stooges stand between them in this battle to the death. Glaring at each other from so close that their foreheads banged together, they repeatedly slammed down the upside-down cup on the table. The sound of their foreheads banging together and the cup being slapped down shattered the barrier between reality and illusion. Oh shit.
魔法だよ、魔法なんだよ。ベアとは魔法でキャンディーを生み出したんだよ。
なら再構築してもらいましょうか。マリアージュ・ソルシエル創立者にして原初の魔女のマリア。
マリア。
エリカ卿、取るに足らぬ相手です。
This opponent is not worth your time.
戦うまでもありません。
お黙りなさい、殺人球体関節人形。さあ、この伏せたカップの中がどう飴玉で満たされたって言うんで。
カップをひっくり返したってキャンディーは出てこないよ。だって魔法を使わなきゃ出てこないもん。ベアとは魔女なんだもん。魔法を使うんだもん。
はいはい、魔法ですね。魔法、どうやって魔法を？魔法のステッキを振るってカップを叩いたら飴玉が溢れ出した。違いますよね、違いますよね。
ベアとは魔女だから魔法を使うの。魔法は呪文を唱えて奇跡を起こすの。キャンディーを生み出す魔法も呪文を唱えなきゃ使えない。
はいはい、了解。グッドです、グッドグッド。呪文をどうぞ、魔法をどうぞ。さあさあ、どんな呪文を魔女はどんな風に？
さあさあ、思い浮かべてごらんなさい。カップの中にキャンディーがいっぱい。そんな素敵なところを思い浮かべてごらんなさい。
へえ、それで
ほら、カップの中にはキャンディーがいっぱい。
Maria grasped the overturned cup so tightly that it nearly cracked. And slowly lifted it up. Then from the inside, as many cute candies as the cup could hold poured out. Maria looked at Erica with a full smile as though saying, "That showed you."
グッド。これがベアトリーチェの魔法だと言うんですね。ドラロール。
Oh shit. She's whipping out Dillanor. Beat to death.
ベアとの魔法は誰にも否定させない。
Oh shit. Little girls versus little girls. Which one wins? Magic or detective?
だって魔法は魔法だもん。
魔法なんてありえません。あなたがありもしない嘘話をしている可能性があります。
復唱を要求です。これに応じぬ場合、ノックス第7条の違反です。
Violation of Nox's 7th commandment.
応じるよ。これは真実だよ。これは本当の話。
The story really happened.
テーブルやカップに細工があって実は手品だったなんてそんなオチはありませんものね。
Wow, someone's actually challenging Maria's beliefs of magic. I can see why Hui drew that picture of Maria and Erica with the two Uzis pointing at each other.
それは違反ですもんね。
秘密の仕掛けと細工はノックス第3条の違反です。ただしその伏線が示された時のみノックス第8条により許されます。
Nox's third commandment prohibits hidden doors and devices that have no clues pointing towards them. However, by presenting foreshadowing and clues that point towards the existence of said devices, Nox's 8th commandment allows them to be used. They had no tricks like that in them. Whoa.
ただのテーブルとカップだよ。だから手品じゃない魔法だよ。
Ordinary table and an ordinary cup. Whoa.
了解です。ノックス第9条によりマリア教の魔法目撃は認められます。
そうですよね。第9条ならね。観測者はいついかなる時でも視点を語ることが許される。
Observers are allowed to speak their personal opinions.
でなかったら女装した犯人の目撃を女を見たと表記したミステリーは全て失格ってことになりますから。いいんですよ。あなたが魔法を見たと主張しても全ての真実は主張に過ぎない。
All truths are nothing more than claims. Oh.
だから私はあなたとは異なる真実を主張しそれをカンパします。それが探偵の役目醍醐味ですから。
カンパなんてできないよ。だってこれは魔法だもん。
その魔法は魔法ですから魔女にしか使えないわ。
そうだよ。魔女にしか使えない。
では人間の私にも使う魔法ではないということになりますね。
お前なんかに使えないよ。ベアトにしか魔法は使えないもん。
Oh, she's gonna try and recreate the trick.
なら私がやってみせようじゃありませんか。この空のカップの中に飴玉を生み出してお見せします。
やれるならやってみてよ。無理無駄無駄。人間にできるわけがない。
なら期待ご期待ご期待。さあここに空っぽのカップがあり、よろしいですか。よろしいですね。それをこうしてテーブルに伏せます。無用の戦い。
Let it be known that this fight had no point.
さあ飴玉を生み出す呪文を唱えます。なんなら一緒に唱えますか。さあさあ思い浮かべてごらんなさい。
カップの中にキャンディーがいっぱい。そんな素敵なところを思い浮かべ。
ストップ。マリアさん、どうしてあなたは呪文を唱えるときに目を閉じるのですか。
Why do you close your eyes when you say the incantation? Oh shit.
魔法の奇跡をどうして目
人間は半魔法の毒まみれだからだよ。卑しい人間が見てたら魔法の奇跡がかき消されちゃう。
If a lowly human saw it, the miracle of magic would be wiped out of existence.
だから卑しい人間が魔法を使うときには目を閉じなきゃいけない決まりなの。
なるほどなるほど。人間の魔法に対するお作法、了解しました。
Ah, she closed her eyes.
つまりあなたは魔法の瞬間を目撃したことは一度たりともない。さあ出来上がりです。どうぞカップを開けてみ。私がキャンディーを生み出す魔法を使いましたか。
魔女をバカにするお前なんかにキャンディーの魔法が使えるわけない。
ではもしもうまくいってましたらお慰み。
After glaring at Erica with the utmost of malice, Maria slowly stretched her hand out towards the overturned cup. There's no way that Erica, someone who made fun of witches like this, could ever use magic. There was no way that there'd be candy there.
カップの中は
And there, in a cute wrapper, lay a single candy.
ね。これが魔法ね。
Erica smiled gently, with the malice of a demon. A look of disbelieving shock rose in Maria's eyes, along with envy for this person who could use the same magic as Bito.
エリカも魔法が使えるの？
ね、魔法でしょ。これが。ってことはつまり。
Erica smiled pleasantly. She and Maria had finally reached a deep understanding.
あんたが目つぶってる間にカップ開けて飴玉放り込んだだけじゃないですか。
I knew this was coming.
これが魔法？こんなの三流手品でしょうが。やっこれがまず探偵としての、そして重ねて真実の魔女としてくれてやり。あんたという飴玉の魔法はただの手品。ベアトリーチェとかいうエセ魔女が魔法と称して見せた単なる手品。
The magic your perspective speaks of can't be trusted in this lands.
魔法だと思い込んでるものは全てあなたが種に気づかないだけの手品に過ぎません。魔法なんてあるわけない。存在するわけない。このカップにキャンディーを入れたのはエリカの手品かもしれないけど、
Sakutaro! Coming to the fucking rescue!
だからといってレアとの魔法も手品だったことの証明うりゃ
Ryu!
ーならば同時に魔法以外では不可能だったことの証明にもなりませんね。この腐れぬいぐるみが。金家謹んで申し上げ立てまつ。無用の勝負、これまでと知りたまえ。この紙切れどもがいいところで邪魔を。
これで十分です。カップの中にキャンディーを表す魔法については、マリア教に手品であっても魔法だと誤解する可能性があることが示され、よって魔法であるとの主張は却下されます。
でもマリアの時は本当に魔法だったかもしれん。手品が存在することが魔法を否定することにはならない。
エリカ教、お見事です。見事マリア教の魔女幻想を。
Witch illusions are an attempt to make others acknowledge the existence of magic by claiming that something would be impossible without it. That is the attack used by witches. If someone can argue back and say that it would be possible without magic, the witch illusion is defeated, and the witch must retreat. The magic that Maria claimed to have seen had the possibility of being a trick, so it was unqualified to be acknowledged as magic. Why did it claim to have seen... That was only the result of this battle. It was still too early to bring the fight into the domain of denying everything else Maria believed in. The existence of Beatrice, witches, and magics. However, battles will always end instantly when your opponent surrenders. Erica had wanted to hit Maria with everything at once, defiling the witch and magic she believed in, and crushing it without a fragment of compassion.
あと一歩で波が引いた後の真っさらな砂浜みたいな無垢なハートをズタズタに引き裂いてやる。残念です。今日が覚めました。これで満足？
Erica grumpily punched the arm of Dilnor that was restraining her. However, that cold, hard, marble-like arm just made Erica's hand hurt.
外交官特権。この勝負はもうおしまい。金系外交官特権。了承するもの。
Diplomatic immunity accepted. Stuffed animal Sakutaro.
意図大人げない戦いと知りたまうものなり。何か言いました？
何も。引き上げましょう。マリア教など所詮はエリカ教の敵ではありません。この程度の雑魚見逃したとて問題はあります。
そうですね。子供の夢を引き裂くなんて私本当にごめんなさい。私にしてはエレガント。行きましょう。
Erica's group turned their backs on Maria, who was still crouching down limply. However, as detectives and famous mysteries have always done in the past, Erica clapped her hands, stopped, and turned around.
そうそういかがですただカップが伏せてあるだけでフルドエリカはこの程度の推理が可能です
A deduction like this becomes trivial for Furudo Erica.
いかがです皆様方
Erica's merciless words gouged themselves into Maria's heart once more. Erica left, leaving an evil laugh behind her. After bowing to Maria and Sakutaro, Dillinor left too. Gertrude and Cornelia followed suit. After that, only Maria and Sakutaro were left in the lonely Golden Land. In the middle of an ice-cold drizzle which had started falling at some point, Maria sobbed. Trying to at least protect her from the rain, Sakutaro used his large sleeves to cover Maria's head, and stayed there by her side.
Maria, エリカさん、僕は今のやりとりはあまり大人として尊敬できないね。
どうもすみません。私もまだ子供なもので。
Still just a kid after all. Sure. After seeing that wonderful candy, magic brutally insulted by Erica. An effective way of getting everyone to hate you, I know. After seeing that wonderful candy magic brutally insulted by Erica, Maria had been crying this whole time.
食後のクイズ大会の時から感じてたが、お前、性格悪すぎだぜ。楽しいか？小さい子の夢、ずったずたに。バトラ様も親どうか私に免じて、この場はこれ以上はお控えください。
Please, for my sake, don't push any further here.
お願いいたします。
Shannon, who had been looking flustered, bowed her head deeply and implored Badler to stop. George, who didn't want Shannon pressured, fell in line.
行こう。また今年も僕たちはいとこ部屋で過ごそうよ。テレビを見たり、トランプをしたりして遊ぼう。
エリカさんの部屋用意があるそうだから。シャノン、案内してあげて。
まだ結構です。私はもう少しここでのんびり余韻を楽しみたいので。
何の余韻だよ。
Badler and the others could no longer hide their irritation. They had no obligation to entertain their uninvited guests any further than this. Erica herself understood perfectly well that no place would welcome a detective. Badlers and the others wanted to leave, and Erica wanted to stay. Neither had any desire to stop the other. Jessica urged Maria, who was still crying, to come along. It was a really interesting way of reframing the detective genre, mystery genre. To making the detective actually the bad guy, or the one in the wrong. Jessica, if you're still crying, to come along. Then Maria stopped and spun around.
何か
たまにいるんだよ、魔法を信じない毒素の塊みたいな人間が。
That are practically lumps of the toxin that doesn't believe in magic.
私のクラスにもお前みたいな男子がいくらでもいるよ。魔女も魔法も奇跡も幸せも何も信じない。そんな程度の奴らの毒素に焼かれて灰になっちゃうようじゃ魔女になんかはなれないね。マリアはこう見えてもベアトリーチェの弟子、原初の魔女見習いなんだから。
Maria, who had been sobbing until a second ago, seemed to have transformed into an entirely different person. She laughed, no, cackled eerily. Balor's group stiffened up at this sudden change, but Erica was watching calmly. Then she smiled and gave a small nod in response.
相性は悪くないです。おやすみなさい、ミス・マリア。次はもっと手応えのあるゲームで戦いましょう。
そうだね、そうしようね。約束しよう。
マリアもよせって。
Let them fight, please. You're just delaying a great fight.
行こう行こ
シャノンちゃんもどう？よかったら一緒にトランプ。
ほんの一戦でもいいから付き合ってくれよ。厄払いになるぜ。
え？じゃあちょっと。
Shannon couldn't remain in this suffocating lounge any longer either. In part apologetic and in part trying to escape, she followed after Badler's group. After that, Erica was the only one left in the lounge. Still wearing a thin smile, she tapped the glass with her finger. There was a light chink. A surprisingly boring sound. Even so, Erica wore a thin smile as though pleased.
お待たせし、お風呂に入っておりまして。おや、皆様方は？
入れ替わりですね。ついさっき2回あなたを呼んだのは私です。
I'm the one who called you here.
なんでも悪事島の話や森の魔女の話などにも詳しいとか。
The Witch of the Forest.
ええ、まあたわいもない話。
たわいなくて大いに結構です。湯上がりに一杯いかがで？私もたまにはサービスくらいしますので。
Erica stood up, opened the refrigerator behind the counter, and put ice into the ice pail. Erica. Bartender Erica. The lovers.
エリカちゃんか。ずいぶん変わった子だ。最近の若い子とはどうも相性が良くね
ジョージさんだってお若いですよ。
いとこで最年長ということもあって、ついついいつも自分がもう若くないって気持ちになっちゃって。
George and Shannon could be seen surrounded by the rainy rose garden. Though the rain was still pouring down, there was hardly any wind at all. The scant protection provided by the arbor was more than enough to house a secret meeting between lovers. Following that fight with Erica, the group had decided to play some cards for a change of pace. When that was over, Shannon returned to the servant room, and shortly after that, George left the room as well to meet Shannon here at the time they had arranged.
エリカさんくらいのお年の方が一番自分自身との付き合い方が難しいと思います。
I think the kids around Erica's son's age have a really hard time accepting them. Oh my god. I just realized something.
そうだね。
What? Hold on. Oh. I didn't hit record. But I think this is gonna record on Twitch VOD. So I can upload it to YouTube. It's okay. Oof. Okay. Most kids are so determined.
くちばしを打ちつけるお年頃だね。それを打ち破れてようやく大きく羽ばたくことができる。僕もそうだったよ。
Only once they manage to break through can they finally stretch their wings and fly high.
かつてまだ殻の中にいた時の自分は情けなくひ弱な、まるで尊敬できない男だった。
そんな。
いや、いいんだ。自分でも分かってる。かつての僕はいとこの中で最年長ではあっても、それは何も家でも学校でも全てでそう。
I hated being like that. I wanted to break that shell and become a splendid adult like mother and father. So he was lazy.
でもジョージ様、この数年のジョージ様は前と。
ありがとう。
何かきっかけがあったんですか？
殻を破る？
はい、あれほどの、まるでさなぎを経て蝶になるかのように目まぐるしく成長されたジョージ。ただ漫然と日々を過ごしていて、それだけの大きな決意をされる何か
君に惚れて愛の力で成長したと僕は今まで言ってきたんだけど。
That's what I told you so far.
本当はもっとネガティブな感情からだったんだ。
そんな、いつも明るく朗らかでおられるジョージさんにネガティブな感情なんてちょっと信じられないです。
Oh, Shannon. You need to understand the deep, dark truth. Even someone who put on a happy exterior has dark emotions.
僕はね、両親に女性は大切にしろと教えられてきたんだ。そしてそれを実践してきたつもりだったよ。
And I thought that I had succeeded in living that way.
はい、とても紳士的で
本当は違う。
ん？
異性とどう接していけばいいかわからなくて、過度に神格化して恐れて、紳士的なレディーファーストを装いながら、
And though I always behaved in a gentlemanly ladies first kind of way.
僕は女の子との交流に
Of course, George had wanted to be around girls as much as any boy might. However, he didn't know how to interact with them. He wanted to act like a gentleman, avoid being disliked by them, and treat them with care. Of those feelings, only the words "treat girls well" took precedence, blossoming into a subconscious fear of women.
そんな男を紳士的な奥手な男と呼ぶんだろうね。とんでもない。ただの臆病者さ。そのくせ自分はこんなにも紳士的なのに、どうして彼女が最後には世間の女性は全て男を見る目がないなんて勝手に決めつけ、勝手に蔑み始める。これが本当の情けない男だったのさ。
Eventually came to the conclusion that all women in the world had no taste and started. How many years ago was it when I noticed? It started when I was in middle school. As an ex-incel. Or maybe this is just the truth from George's perspective. George is actually an incel, and then when Shannon rejected his advances, then George snapped. How many years ago was it when I noticed? I started when I was in middle school. At the time, I assumed that I was obviously the most gentlemanly of all the cousins, so I would obviously be popular with women. However, reality was completely different. At school, I was pretty much completely hopeless. Far from being a leader, I was the bully kid who got pushed around by everyone. At the time, I figured I was just a capable and adaptable man who could keep in perfect tune with his surroundings. How stupid, Baka. Sure, I might have gained some measure of trust from girls. However, not only was there no one who would become my girlfriend, I didn't even know any girls I could call a friend.
So そりゃそうさ、レディーファーストと称していつも後ろへ下がる男だ。そんな後ろ向きな牽引力のない男の背中についていく滑稽だね。それに気づかず自分はさぞや魅力的な男子に違い。
その気持ちちょっぴりわかります。自分が異性に魅力的に見てもらいたくて努力した振る舞いが必ず思った通りの結果を導く。へ
え、シャノンにもそういう経験が？
もちろんです。私だって男の子の気を引きたくてできもしないお化粧をして恥をかいたり恥ずかしい失敗の思い出がたくさんあります。
そんなうぬぼれた僕の目を覚ましてくれたのがシャノン、いや君たちだった。
どんなきっかけがジョージさんに訪れたんですか？
嫉妬かな。
Wait, envy? Well, let's see. Envy.
意外です。でも何に？
君とバトラ君がとても楽しそうに話しているのを見て、僕は嫉妬した。
私がバトラ様と？
Shannon raced through her memories, trying to find a conversation that might have made George envious.
君たちにとっては他愛ない会話だった。でも僕はそれに、ここからの話はバトラ君には絶対に内緒にし約束できる？
もちろんで。
みすぼらしい僕の懺悔さ。でも聞いてほしい。今夜は僕の悪い部分も知ってくれた上で君に返事をもらいたいことがあるから。
はい、聞かせてください。
With a smile but a serious look in her eyes, Shannon nodded. Tonight, she knew what he was going to ask her tonight. George had the right to confess before asking that sacred question, and Shannon had the obligation to listen. Shannon understood this, so she listened quietly.
感激の魔女ってずいぶん趣味の悪い魔女なのね。
The witch of theater-going peeps during the spare time.
恋を語る話は時をこいくら聞いてももっとも私にはエンジェの乙女らしい嫌悪の表情の方が愉快。
Featherine laughed quietly. Angie huffed and looked away, but she quickly realized that this would only entertain Featherine even more, so she tried to act unconcerned.
バトラ君もジェシカちゃんも昔から快活だね。いや、そんな言い方は取り繕ってる。だからこういう。
George looked up at where the moon should be high above the rain clouds and spoke. They were honest words spoken from George's meek heart.
僕は昔からバトラ君もジェシカちゃんも礼儀に欠けた子だと思ってたよ。いや、もっと大言葉遣いの下品な子たちだなとさえ思っていたよ。
The way they talked was vulgar.
軽蔑してくれていい？
しません。人は何を胸中に思おうと許され、むしろ態度に出さなかったジョージさんは。
ありがとう。僕はそんな彼らを内心見下していたよ。それに比べて僕はなんと立派で紳士的魅力にあふれているかと本気でうぬぼれていたさ。
I was at the edge where having a girlfriend felt like a necessary condition for becoming a real man. I truly believe that no girl could fail to admire a gentleman who treated girls as well as I did. So I really did assume that the girls I knew were attracted to me.
それに比べたらいつまでもはしゃいだりふざけたり下品で低俗な言葉遣いばかりしているバトル。それがいつまでたっても彼女ができない自分への精神安定剤だったらとんでもない。彼らは僕に劣ってなんかいない。むしろ異性を勝手に神格化してレディーファーストと称して恐れて避ける僕の方がよっぽど劣っていた。
バトラもジェシカも昔からああいう確かにそやで紳士的淑女的とは到底。しかし男女を分け隔てなく交流できる力があった。いや、魅力と言っていいかもしれない。ちょっとわかるわ。お兄ちゃんやジェシカお姉ちゃんみたいなタイプの人って男女問わず、ジョージお兄ちゃんには悪いけどあまり紳士を振りかざしすぎる人ってちょっと気持ち悪いわ。
She said it. Creepy.
幻想持ちすぎっていうか、なんというか。
Maybe my theory about George is right. George like fucking snapped. It's like a bowstring that's been taut way too tight. I find them a bit creepy. It's like having a delusion about women or something.
人は無縁であるなら、相手が無害で退屈な人間であることを尊ぶ。
People respect it when someone they are distant from is boring.
しかしそれは邪魔にならないという意味で好まれているだけだ。退屈な人間を身近にしたいと願う人間などいるわけもない。当然よ。動かず物も言わぬ電信柱と友達になろうというバカはいないわ。
Unmoving, unspeaking telephone pole.
でも動かず物を言わないのは電信柱としては優秀だわ。
Unmoving and unspeaking exactly what you'd want from a telephone.
そういうことだ。ジョージはつまりいくら自分が優秀であっても魅力ある人間として認められていない。ただの電信柱扱いであることにようやく気づいたというわけ。
僕は当時うぬぼれの真っ盛りだった。だから親族会議でみんなで集まって一番魅力的なのは僕で、それに混じって遊んでくれた使用人の女の子はみんな僕に惚れていると信じていたよ。それがあの日、僕はそこでようやく自分がどれほど
私が当時何か心ないことを言ってしまったのでしょうか。
いいや、逆さ。君は何も言わなかった。君の瞳に映っているのは常に僕だといううぬぼれが打ち砕かれたのさ。
Just when did it start? No, it must have started long before then. I only failed to notice because my eyes were clouded with conceit.
ある日、唐突に気づいたんだ。君たちがバトラ君やジェシカちゃんと僕なんかよりはるかによく馴染んで楽しそうに遊んでいることに。
Yes, those two whom I had looked down upon so much were radiating far more charm than I was. You really looked like you were enjoying yourselves that day. The look on your face was far brighter than any you ever showed me.
気色悪い話さ。僕は君を勝手に、僕ひょっとしたら異性の付き合いになってもいいかななんて青臭い白昼の許しつらと勝手に恋人を奪われた気持ちになって勝手に傷ついて。
I felt as though my girlfriend had been stolen from me and let myself feel hurt.
「どこまでも僕はダメな男だったんだ。その時ようやく僕は
ジョージ様。
その後バトラ君はいろいろあって親族会議に来なくなったけど、ルドルフおじさんから彼の近況は聞いていたよ。
After that, stuff happened, and Battlers stopped coming to the family conferences. This doesn't have anything to do with his sin, does it?
おじさんも可愛い人だね。
Him, like, making George jealous? Uncle Rudolph cares more than he shows.
バトラ君とあんなにいつも喧嘩をしているのに、バトラ君の近況を。
そうですね。私も聞かせてもらって、アスム様も呆れておられましたっけ。学校では 大層女性に人気でトラブルが絶えないのはきっと驚く。
そしてジェシカちゃん、男女の友達を大勢作っていつもその中心で活躍していると聞いて、実際ジェシカちゃんと話してもそれは何の誇張でもないと理解できたよ。
That experience had shown that the two I had looked down upon were much more attractive human beings than I was.
最初はね、バトラ君たちを滑稽な話さ。ふざけたりはしゃいだり下品な会話を好めば彼らのような魅力が得られると。
ジョージ様がですか？ちょっと想像できません。
痛々しかったよ。僕もあの頃のことは生涯思い出したくない。そしてそんなことを真似ても真の魅力は宿らないと。僕に魅力がないのは人を大事にすると称したり場の雰囲気に合わせて振る舞えると称したりして、いつも一歩逃げている自分の臆病さにあったんだ。僕はそれを克服するために生まれ変わる決意をしたよ。
Resolve myself to overcome that flaw and be reborn.
初めて自分の殻というものを理解し、それを打ち破ろうと誓ったんだ。その意志がくじけそうになるためにあの日のことを思い出して。
Every time my resilience began to waver, I would remember that day. I used Maho.
君たちが僕を忘れて楽しそうに遊ぶ
The day I saw you.
そして僕に好意があると決めつけている君の瞳に僕が映っていなかったことね。誓ったんだよ。今度こそ本当に君を振り向かせて、その瞳に、それが実は君に恋をした一番最初の感情。
複雑だったんですね。
あの日僕を無視して遊んでいた君たち、君への復讐が。
That day I felt the desire for revenge against you all. Playing as a group, ignoring
い
me.
つの間にか本当の恋心に変わっていったんだ。しかし神に誓うよ。それが君のことを真剣に考え出したきっかけだとしても、僕が今君に持つ気持ちには何の偽りもない。僕は君を生涯愛することを誓う。それは誰にも何にも偽らない。そして君を妻として迎えるために僕には世界を敵。
ジョージさん。
以上が君に先にしておきたい懺悔さ。僕は今日まで君のことを初恋で一目惚れだったと言ってきた。それは嘘なんだ。
A lie.
うぬぼれた僕の歪んだ。
That's a confession I wanted to make to you beforehand, before now.
関係ないです。
Shannon smiled. But she spoke forcefully enough to interrupt George's words.
初恋じゃなかったら結ばれちゃいけないんですか？初恋の人を忘れたらそれは裏切りなんですか？恋ってそんな単純じゃない。いいえ、単純かもしれない。だって 恋なんて簡単。常に今の自分の正直な気持ちだけが。だから昔の話も馴れ初めも。
懺悔沈んだったか
いいえ、何事も完璧なジョージさんにも人間臭い一面があることが分かってちょっと嬉しかったです。そしてそれを私だけに打ち明けてくれることに。
な。ありがとう。僕は君がいたから僕になれた。
私もジョージさんがいるから。だから包み隠さず教えて。私たちはどんな夫婦になってどんな未来を築くのですか？
僕は君という妻を得て父さんを超える実業家になる。そしてさまざまな挑戦や冒険を経て自分の可能性の限界を確かめたい。その到達点の頂に君と。そこからの眺めは僕以外の誰にも見せられないものになる。
楽しそうです。どこまでもお供します。
もちろん実業家としての冒険だけじゃない。夫婦でしか気づけないものもたくさん積み上げていきたい。
それはどんなものですか？
子供を作ろう。
はい、旦那様。
最低3人は作りたい。
3 at least.
男の子も女の子も両方。
もし3人とも男。
次こそ女の子かもね。4人目を作ろう。何人いてもいい。子育てという冒険も2人で楽しむ。そしてやがては巣立った子供たちが孫を連れて帰ってくる。
Make us some
気
grandchildren.
づけば僕たちは大勢の子供と孫に囲まれ。
楽しそうです。ジョージさん、どんなおじいちゃんにな。
君こそどんなおばあちゃんになってるんだろうね。でも僕は君を、そして大勢の家族に見守られながら王女をできたら僕たちの人生は誰にも負けないものとして描き切られる。
George didn't just talk about his love in the present. He swore to love her soul until the final moment, when the lids of their coffins would be shut. Then George took a small box out of his pocket. Even without opening it, she knew what was inside. He took it out with a motion that was more natural even than the one he had practiced in the bathroom at the airport, and it was overflowing with charm.
さよ、
はい、
結婚しよう。
はい。
この指輪をどうか。
はい、ジョージさん。
That ring, which glistened divinely even in the dim light of the harbor, passed from George's hand to Shannon's finger. Of course, Shannon had already decided which finger to put it on.
僕と君の未来を阻もうとする全ての運命に僕は毅然と立ち向かうことを誓う。
George proclaimed that he would reveal their engagement to the entire family on the next day.
僕たちの結婚にでも僕が親にするのは婚約の報告であって、もし母さんが君との結婚、僕は自ら感動を申し出て、僕にはその覚悟がとっくにあるんだ。
I've been prepared for that since long ago.
僕たちの未来を阻む全ての運命に僕は毅然と立ち向かうことを。もう
George had said it aloud, so Shannon said the same thing.
私も 私とジョージさんの未来を阻もうとす。
バトラさん、いつ事件が始まるんです？
When will the crime
もう
start?
恋愛ごっこ、お腹いっ
黙って見ていろ。
はいはい。私があくびでもした隙に何かとんでもない伏線を通過されたらたまりませんから。
It's spectacular bit of foreshadowing slipped by.
お前には愛はないのか？
愛が証拠として受理されるミステリーってあるんですか？
Any mysteries which accept love as proof.
ありませんから。
Erica laughed coldly and stared down at the two on the game board. Badler watched her quietly. Erica thought she felt a touch of pity in his gaze, and she averted her eyes uncomfortably.
一応理解はしてますとも、愛が殺人の動機程度にはなりうることくらい、一応この東屋での出来事は2人の婚約に障害が生じた場合、犯行の動機となりうる程度、まあ赤くない言葉でいくら愛をささやこうとも全ては幻ですが。
かわいそうにな。お前は魔女に証拠が与えられなかったら人。
くだらない恋愛トークはやめてください。私はあんたの敵であって恋の話に付き合う酔狂な友人ではありませんから。私には今のあんたがさっぱりわかる。一体あんたは何を悟った？あんたとベアとは罵り合い殺し合う関係だったはず。そのあんたが何の真相に至ってベアトに対する感情を変えたんです。まさか殺し合うライバル関係から恋愛感情が芽生えたとか。
エリカ卿、ゲームの進行を続けさせましょう。退屈な恋愛シーンなどとっとと終わらせるに限ります。
ほんとそうですね。口を挟んでささどう？
どうも。
シャノンです。戻りました。
うん。
うん。
今日の日誌はまだだな。
はい、すぐに提出します。カノン君、留守番をありがとう。
長い休み時間だった。
Cannon had already noticed. There was a silvery glint coming from the ring finger on Shannon's left hand.
では、私は先に何かあったら構わず起こすように。
おやすみなさいませ、源氏様。
Genji disappeared off to the waiting room. After that, only Shannon and Cannon remained.
時間をくれてありがとう。あとは私が控えてるから、カノン君ももう休んでもいいよ。
今度は僕の手番ってことだね。
It's your turn, Cannon.
悪いけど、私たちは
僕だって負けるものか。
今日まで臆病でお嬢様にリードしてもらわなければ何もできなかった君が。
姉さんが教えてくれたはずだよ。
何を教えたかな。
恋に昔も過去も関係ない、今だけが重要なんだって。もしそれが本当なら、僕の今は姉さんの今に何も負けてるなんて。
Shannon and Cannon glared at each other with serious eyes. That period of tension vanished when Shannon chuckled.
それでいいよ。君とお嬢様も頑張って、もしも結ばれるなら私たちが心の底から祝福できるくらいに素敵な関係に。
姉さんにかなりのリードを許してるけどね。
仕方ないよ。それが君のこれまでの臆病の対価なんだから。
分かってる。それが僕の。
Shannon and Kenan fished around in their pockets and drew out two small things that glittered gold. They looked like the left and right wings of a gold butterfly. Wait, what? The miracle of magic.
あいつのブローチが役に立つなんて。
私たちの手元にある。
It was the golden butterfly brooch, which Beatrice had once given to Shannon in hopes of creating love between her and George. Shannon had given it to Kenan, but he had let his emotions get a hold of him and had crushed it to pieces. So when the two wings they were brought together, it would regain the form of a beautiful butterfly.
じゃあ、行ってくる。僕もトランプに一応呼ばれてたからね。
頑張ってね、お嬢様。
少し照れる。
楽しんで、その感情を。
Kenan left the servant room. He went to go see Jessica and tell her what he had determined to do. Shannon quietly watched him go. The fragment of the brooch in the engagement ring lit off a gold and silver glint.
懐かしいぞ。あれは確かにわらわがシャノンにカノンが踏みつぶして以来どこへ紛失したかと思っていたらまだ持っていたのか。
黄金蝶のブローチですね。恋愛を助ける魔法のブローチとフェザリーヌさんの本で読みました。
And that had been the first moment that Beatrice, Witch of the Forest, had met with a human and given them her power. Bit by bit, she had ascended from a mere ghost to the ruler of the mansion at night. And by making the servants believe in her, she had wiped away the anti-magic power. And then it eventually became possible for her to appear openly in front of Shannon, whose magic resistance had grown particularly low, and who had begun to believe the existence of Beatrice. To Bito, who had been unable to interact with anyone for many years, this conversation with Shannon must have been especially fun.
「だから気前よく黄金蝶のブロわらわは相当わらわのごとき冷酷な魔女がそこまでサービスをするとは。
でも素敵です。あなたは未来の恋人たちの中。
もちろん甘やかしたつもりはないぞ。わらわの魔力を抑えつけてきたあの肉々しい霊境を悪くそのおかげでわらわは一気に力を取り戻すことができたのだ。
しかしある夜、紫の雷が真珠の社を打ち砕いた。
Mash the shrine.
島々の者たちは協調。今思えばあれこそがベアトリーチェ様。
Kumasawa had the rest of the night off, so she had let Erica talk her into drinking a bit, and was chatting about the legend of Akujiki Jima and Beatrice in a happy, tipsy mood. Erica would nod from time to time, but she listened very closely. She wasn't actually taking notes, but she was gathering the information on the whiteboard inside her head. Then she frowned as though noticing something out of place and held up her hand.
ちょっとストップを。
はい。
その鎮守の社は悪食島の悪霊を封じるために旅の修験者が建立した。
Mountaineering.
そうでしたね。
ええ、そうでございます。強い神通力をお持ちだったということで、その力を鏡に込め、
霊鏡として社に奉納し、悪霊を封印した。
And placed it within the shrine as a sacred mirror to seal the evil spirits.
少し違和感を覚えます。
I might. Place that power within the mirror.
悪食島の悪霊を封印する社がどうしてベアトリーチェも封印するんです？
は
Why would it also seal Beatrice?
あ、それはその霊鏡の。
なるほど。東洋の悪霊も西洋の魔女も OK の便利な霊鏡だったからというわけですか。わかりました。すっきりはしませんが、そこは折れることにしましょう。しかしどうしてベアトリーチェが雲の巣も嫌うのかわかりません。
According to the legends, the evil spirits of Akujikijima despise spiderwebs. So they were apparently used as wards against evil on the island around here. Actually, spiders are a useful bug. The farmers of the island may well have treasured them. It's very possible that the farmers called them wards against evil, tying them to the stories about evil spirits, in order to create the tradition of a people treating this useful bug with care through the generations.
しかしそれ、悪食島伝説、そもそもベアトリーチェの魔女伝説の発祥はこの島に引っ越してきた後宮金蔵がミステリアスな黄金伝説とそれを授けた魔女という名の愛人を吹聴してから始まったものです。つまり悪食島の悪霊と黄金の魔女ベアトリなのに設定が同じになっています。
さては。
The evil spirits of Akujikijima couldn't stand spiderwebs, so neither could Beatrice. That sort of reasoning has been applied all over the place. When it was pointed out that this was strange, Kumasawa was lost for an answer.
金蔵さんの書斎のドアノブはサソリの魔法陣が描かれていて、それは西洋魔術では魔除けを意味する。だから西洋魔女のベアトリーチェはこれは理解できるんです。でも雲の巣に限ってはベアトリーチェが嫌う理由がありません。私の知る限りでも西洋魔女の苦手なものにむしろ雲は魔女の仲間や眷属では思うに悪食島伝説の悪霊と魔女伝説、この2つの異なる伝説がいいえ混交どころか融合か。悪食島伝説は六軒島周辺の暗礁を恐れた漁民たちが生み出したおとぎ話。しかし悪食島に住まう悪霊なる者には具体的なビジュアルイメージが伴っていませんでした。
No visual image to go along with these evil
人なの
spirits.
か怪物なのかはたまた足のない幽霊、さっぱりイメージがありません。人はビジュアルを伴わない空想に、そこにベアトリーチェという魔女の伝説が登場した。悪霊よりは魔女の方が想像しかもその上金蔵さんはベアトリーチェの象、つまり悪食島伝説の一番の弱点 たたる悪霊のビジュアルイメージが初めて保管された。そこからいつの間にか2つの伝説が混じり、
どうでございましょうね。この老いぼれには少し難しいや。
Kumasawa laughed to smooth it over, wiping away a cold sweat. Why is she sweating about it? She might have seemed confused, but she actually did understand what Erica was saying. In truth, she did have a rough understanding of how the legend of Akujiki Jima, which had been around before Ushimiya Kinzo had come to Rokujima. In the legend of the Golden Witch, the story of the woman who had given Kinzo a vast quantity of gold. Oh, was Kumasawa the one who spread the rumors? The story of the woman who had given Kinzo had changed over time. She didn't want to admit it, but she knew. Beatrice's backstory, that she hated the spirit mirror and the spider webs, had actually been based on the ancient legend of Akujikijima. The evil spirits part of that legend had just been replaced by the witch of the portrait.
もし黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェを自称する人物がいたとして、彼女が本当に蜘蛛の巣を嫌うのかどうか、ぜひ聞いてみたいものです。触れるとどうなるんでしたっけ？
魔女の眷属はやけどを負うそうですから、多分そうなるんじゃないかと。
いいじゃないですか、それ。見事な魔女裁判です。
A splendid witch trial.
魔女の眷属は蜘蛛の巣に触れると、
蜘蛛の巣に触れてやけどするならば、それは悪霊の方であって魔女ではない。そして触れても何も起こらないのであれば、ただの人間であることの証。
And if nothing happens, then it proves she's just a human.
つまり、やけどしようがしなかろうが、黄金の魔女など存在しないという証になります。魔女伝説なんて所詮、悪事記事の伝説が装いを変えただけの焼き直しに過ぎないのです。
はあ。
ただ伝説がそこにあるだけで、フルドエリカはこの程度の
A deduction like this becomes trivial.
いかがです？
Though only the two of them were in the lounge, Erica faced in the direction an invisible audience would have been if there was one, and shrugged. And to match Erica's imagination, the two of them actually were there listening in.
蜘蛛の巣ですか？触れるとやけどを？
When Bito the Elder snapped her fingers, a graceful silver spider slipped down from the ceiling hanging by a transparent thread. Afterwards, only a single silver strand remained.
えっと
Timidly, Beto stretched her finger out towards the spiders swirling. And she touched it.
平気です。平気なのか。
Beto the elder lifted up a white pale finger, and after showing it to her little sister, she traced the silver string with it. There was a oh, Beto the elder is the Eastern legend of the evil spirits, and Beto the younger is Rokonjima. In order to make up that difference of, I see, only if they're like legitimately different. Sorry, only if they were legitimately ready to fight. Wait, what am I saying? I'm like starting to slur my own words. With this older Beatrice combined with the newer one, he's essentially making up for over 1,000 years of living. There's a stench like a single hair being burnt. Once again, she held her fingers up in front of Beto, who was dumbfounded. There was a thin burn line, as though someone had traced across it with a razor fist.
これはどういうことですか?
Oh, sorry. Cross it with a razor, not a razor fist.
わらわが聞きたい。どうしてそなたは平気なのか。わかりません。むしろ逆に、どうしてお姉様が蜘蛛の巣に触れるとやけどをするのかわからない。
I do not know.
わらわが自らの存在を意識した時からそういうことになっていた。ではお姉様は
Beto hesitated. However, her question was clear.
違う。わらわは悪食島の悪霊などではない。わらわはドッケン島の夜を支配する魔女ベアトリーチェである。
However, the question was clear.
どうしてこの島の太古の悪霊と同じ弱点を持つのかはわらわにもわからない。苦手なのは 雲の巣だけですか？
エリカとやらが言うように、金蔵の書斎のドアのサソリの魔法陣は、わらわにとって金蔵の書斎の扉を開けようとするのは真っ赤に焼き。
Jeez.
そなたは
サソリの魔法陣。
The older sister snapped her fingers again. When she did, the surrounding scene bent and twisted, and they had suddenly moved the place in front of Kinzo's study, engraved with a scorpion. And there was a doorknob engraved with the scorpion magic circle.
魔術を研究するものならば、人的にも霊的にも隔絶された隠れ家が必須となる。金蔵が自らの書斎を閉ざし、このような魔除けを施したとしても不思議はない。
Man, I'm fading. Those who reach sorcery must have a refuge sealed off from both human and spiritual disturbances. Just realized that Kinzo chose to seal off his study and place a charm such as this here.
そしてそれは困ったことに、わらわにもこうして効果がある。
She gently grasped the doorknob. As she did, a violent burning sound, unbelievably stronger than the one caused by the spiderweb, rang out.
お姉様、大丈夫です。手は。
Her hand had been horribly burnt, and Bito could help but avert her eyes.
安心せよ。これ式、すぐ治。
Apparently, it would heal by itself if left alone. The older sister seemed to heal at an inhuman rate.
だがそなたはどうやら平気らしいな。
She timidly poked the doorknob. Nothing happened. She is the human. She is truly the human Beatrice. Slowly she touched it with her entire palm, but she felt nothing but a pleasant, cool sensation.
不思議だ。そなたはわらわの分身であるにもかかわらず、わらわとは
逆にドアノブに触れても平気。お姉様のような火傷を負ったら、私は簡単には治らないと思います。
まるで普通の人間のようであるな。
はい、私自身自分が魔女だとはちょっと信じきれていません。私にはお姉様のように魔法を使うこともできないし、不思議な火傷も、そしてすぐに傷を治すこともできません。
A little hard to believe that I'm a witch. I can't use magic.
お父様は私を偉大なる魔女の生まれ変わる。私にはそれが信じられなくて。
そなたは何者な。
私はベアトリーチェ。お父様のために生まれ。お姉様は？
わらわもまたベアトリーチェ。金蔵に魔法にて黄金を授け、その後も魂となって島に縛り付けられている体を失った魔女である。
I am also Beatrice. I used magic to give Kinzo gold and later became a soul and the formless witch that haunts this island.
私は私たちは一体何者なんでしょう。わらわと違い、そなたは体を持つ。え、そうなんですか。あのエリカとやらの話を聞いて、わらわはふと思った。魔女であり魔法が使えるが体を持たぬわらわと、そして魔女であるが魔法は使えず肉の体を持つそなた。わらわたちはやがて一つになり、掛け合った部分を埋め合って本当のベアトリーチェとして完成されるのではないだろう。
It did seem plausible. Both of the Beatrices were missing something. If they were to become one, then surely they would be very close to the Beatrice that Battler desired.
試してみ、
Fusion?
手を出せ。
The older sister slowly raised her palm and held it out before Bito. The large burn from a second ago really had started to heal already.
わらわたちはわらわも知りたい。そなたと一つになることで未来のわらわを知りたい。
Bito also raised her hand slowly, and the two hands touched. But nothing happened. Perhaps this meant that while they were fated to become one eventually, that time had not yet come.
わらわにとって雲の巣が苦手な。しかしそなたはそれを知りもしなかった。同様にそなたは自分が生まれてきた理由をお父様のためだという。そのお父様というのはどうやら後ろ宮バトラのことらしい。わらわも年に数度しか訪れぬ稀な客人である彼のことは知って、その稀な客人の彼とそなたというわらわにどのような接点があるのか理解できぬ。わらわたちは互いをもっと知る。そう、私たちは互いを知り合うことで本当に大切なことに至れる気がします。その向こうにいるのが一なるミディア、それこそがわらわたち。
With their hands still joined, the two Beatrices swore to fill in the parts the others lacked and regain their single form. Bit by bit, Bito was walking down the path that led to the former Beatrice. Magic of a different interpretation. Eerie sound of wind and rain. Once again, I hazily regained consciousness on the top of the bed. The finger that the witch had bitten off was still attached. I didn't say it was all an illusion, just that it was still attached. After all, the pain and the teeth marks, as though the witch had bitten it, were still there. And yet the window, which I had supposedly smashed, had been fixed as though it had never been broken in the first place. How can I escape this creepy room? Why am I locked up in this creepy, eerie room all alone? I want to get out. I have to get out. Let me out of here. The door was sealed with a firm chain. I could open it a crack, but only enough to peek out into the corridor at best. it would probably be hard even to get just a fist through it. The windows wouldn't budge either. They were no better than barred prison windows. The bathroom didn't even have a window. The only thing that could get out through there was the water that flowed out if you turned on the tap. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't think of any way out of here. Shut in here like this, I was no more or less than a prisoner. Unless someone came from the outside to save me, I wouldn't be able to get out for all eternity. In that case, couldn't I just call for help? Yes, the tiny gap I could make in that door had to exist so that I could call for help. But could I make the words come out? I had tried to call out for help before. For some reason, the words couldn't escape my mouth. I might have made some kind of mistake. I might have just lost my voice in my haste and confusion. But hey, Coco, my princess. I cracked the door open one more time. The warm light of the hallway flowed in, making the darkness in the room stand out all the more. Though I couldn't hear any voices, I did feel something peaceful. I was sure that everyone in the room at the end of the hallway chatting happily about something. If I could just call out, someone would surely come to save me. Holding back some indescribable fear, I tried yelling once more. But the result was the same. It was like trying to yell underwater. All I did was get out of breath, unable to call out in the slightest. Ha! 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 Even though I could say as much as I wanted if I just grumbled to myself inside the room. Whenever I tried to make my voice reach outside, I choked and was unable to say anything. I understood. My body wasn't the only thing imprisoned in this eerie, locked room. My voice was as well. Thinking that I could use some other kind of sound to call for help, I tried to open and close the door violently, making the chain rattle. It did sound as though I was making a noisy clanking sound, but I was sure it was no good. Even this sound was imprisoned within the locked room. No matter how harsh the sound I made, I was certain it would be quieter than a leaf falling by the time it reached the end of the corridor. I tried using the hateful chain that sealed the door to make a sound to call for someone. That only deepened my despair. Question mark? This chain... That's insane. Even though just a second ago it was a stiff chain that looked like it was used to seal a monster away. At some point it had transformed into a normal chain lock. This changed everything. Now I could just undo it from the inside. I tried to undo the chain, but I couldn't pull it off. The chain not being long enough for that while the door was still open a crack. Of course. Calm down. Gulp. I swallowed and calmly closed the door. Then, when I saw that chain that had slackened enough, I touched it with my finger to make sure. When I was little, I hated chains because I could never get them undone right. However, that was a long time ago. I could unfasten them normally now. Anyone could. It was easy. Clink. At that moment, that terrible thought that the demon who had locked me in this room might have been using this as a trap to give me hope and then make me despair even more, finally stopped haunting me. The chain lock unfastened and the chain dangled there right before my eyes. Now, there was no lock sealing this door. Please don't torment me anymore and just open normally. Slowly the door opened. I had closed the door in order to undo the chain, so the warm light from the hallway had been cut off. What if I opened it again and the warm light was gone this time? I was even afraid of that. However, that was just me over-imagining things, slowly expanding before my eyes. No, this is normal for a door. As the door let out an annoying creak, the exit from this cursed locked room finally opened. I did it! Even my cry of joy was strangled. But that didn't matter anymore. All that mattered was that I could get out. I poked my head out and looked left and right down the corridor. The warm corridor. I can sense people having fun at the other end. Everyone's right there. Let's go right now. Gick! At that moment, something cold and heartless crushed my throat. It was as though an iron loop had been fastened around my neck and pulled on hard from behind. No, not as though. Without my knowing, at some point a thick metal collar had been fastened around my neck. When had this happened? And when I turned around and I despaired even more. From the inner side of the door I had just opened, a thick chain extended, which was connected to my collar. I pulled on it, and it didn't even budge. When I shook it, the whole door creaked. What the hell? The chain that connected to my collar was attached to the inner side of the door. Yes, that same heartless chain that had secured the door a short while back had suddenly become a chain holding me in place. That's insane. That's insane! Damn it, what's going on here? I pulled with all my strength, trying to tear the whole door off. But I already knew from repeated experiments that it wouldn't even budge. I was sure this chain would disappear once I went back inside the room, but it would never let me leave it. Though it had appeared to revert to being a normal chain lock, nothing had actually changed. The fact that a chain lock bound me to that room was just as true now as ever. Ugh! Tears flowing down my face, I pulled with all I had. It was completely useless. No matter what I did, I'd never tear it loose. I wasn't even permitted to call out for help. I felt a confused anger at how the demon had mercilessly made me think for just an instant that I'd escape. But no matter how much I yelled, no voice came out, and no one on the other side of the corridor could hear me. Then I noticed an odd stain on the wall of the corridor. It wasn't a stain. They were letters traced out by a finger that had been covered in red paint. Those letters, which looked like they had been drawn in blood, answered my biggest question. The chain lock must be set. You may unset it, but it must then be reset. Unless it is set, this exit of yours will be unusable. I instantly understood the meaning of that unsettling message. Then I tried it out and understood completely. When I returned to the room and reset the chain lock, the binding around my neck disappears. When I undo the chain lock again, that heavy feeling around my neck returns. In other words, I cannot escape this room while the chain lock is still unset. But that means all I need to do is set the chain while outside the room. I undid the chain one more time. The weighty collar and chain appeared around my neck again. I stepped out into the corridor and closed the door behind me, leaving only the slightest of cracks. I stuck my hand through that crack and grabbed the jangly chain and tried to reset it somehow. Damn it. It's so easy to do it from the inside, so why is it so hard to do it from the outside? The gap needed to be wide if I wanted to manipulate the chain well. However, that made the chain too short to reach. To bring the chain even close to reaching, I had to close the door as much as possible. But doing that meant that there wouldn't be enough of a gap to fit my hand in. Of course, that was perfectly natural. Chain locks are made to be done from the inside. They'd be completely pointless if you could set and unset them from the outside. That's why the length of the chain is specially chosen to prevent anyone from setting or unsetting it from the outside. Maybe I could imagine it with some kind of hard, thin tool. If the gap of the door was just a finger's width across, the chain would have enough length to reach. If I could just bend a wire hanger so that it fits through the crack and work the chain with that. That's right. There's a closet just to the side of the door. Could there be some hangers in there? Found one. Oh, thank God. A single cheap-looking hanger like the one you might find in a laundry room was hanging there. Really? Pretty sure that when I last looked a short while ago, nothing like this was in the closet. Ah, who cares? Quickly. I twisted the wire hanger, bending the end with the tip around. I formed a loop at the end to grab at things with, making for a sort of burglar's tool. Then dashed out into the corridor again and closed the door almost as far as it would go. My wrist could never pass through this. But with the door closed this far, the chain would have some extra length to spare. And this crack is large enough for me to stick the hanger through. Now it's just a matter of technique. I'll definitely be able to do it if I try it enough times, I'm certain of it. Ha. It's harder than it looks, but the chain is long enough. It isn't impossible. I had finally got my hands on the one way to escape. It was hard, yes, but it was theoretically possible. If it was possible, then I would be able to get out. I would be able to escape from here. At that moment, I felt a heavy weight on the far side of the door. It felt as though someone inside the room had leaned against the door with their forehead. And she, the witch, had laughed. Then I felt a powerful and strange force on the wire hanger. Is she trying to grab it away from me? Yeah, right, like hell I'll let go. Like hell I'll let the one key out of here get stolen while my guard's down. Fortunately, I had stuck my wrist through it so that I wouldn't drop it if my hand got tired. You won't be able to snatch this out of my hands. Sounds like Birkenstell. The witch on the other side of the door watched me and laughed once more. Then I noticed something weird. I looked at my left hand, which I had pressed against the door to hold it in place. And between the fingers of that hand, I could see something red. It was red text. I realized immediately. At some point in time, even more bloody letters had been written on the door. And my left hand had been covering them up. Still fighting against the vice-like strength of the witch beyond the door, I moved my left hand to the side, where that hand had been. The bloody letters had indeed been written. It read as though someone had predicted that I'd struggle this way from the very beginning. A message directly from the witch to me. No matter the method, it is impossible to set or unset the chain lock from the outside. All tricks done from the corridor have been sealed by the red letters. Well, let me see that again. That's right. I think in order to unlock the chain on the door, they had to get like some special heavy-duty pliers or something. I wonder who discovered that chain on the door in the first episode. I think it was Natsuhi, right? Maybe the chain was an illusion. LP archive. The LP archive. When I look at this, what am I looking for? This starts at episode 5, which is weird. Oh. Oh, I didn't click on the link I gave you. That you gave. Hold on 1 second. Let me, This is for Chiru? Oh. Okay. I don't know what that means. Okay, episode 1. There we go. Rival Epitaph, Sandy Beach, Letter and Umbrella, Letter and Umbrella 2, Legend of Gold, 6 chosen by the key. The 2 who are close. Guess it's true that you can relax. You reached the hallway point in my life long ago. Halfway. Oh. Genji and Cannon. Wait, Cannon, return to the kitchen and take Kumasawa with you. You must act. He didn't want anything to happen to Cannon. So it was Kumasawa and Cannon. Hold on. Alright. It's possible to set or unset the chain. Thank you, thank you. All tricks done from the quarter have been sealed by red letters. No, no way. There was suddenly a terrible sound, and the force that had been pulling on the hanger was suddenly released. And when I looked at the hanger that was finally free, I lost all hope. As though it had been hit by the acid of the room's darkness, and the tip of the hanger had been burnt and bubbled and melted away. Now it was pitifully short. It couldn't be used for anything. It would be useless to serve for a substitute. All schemes to fasten the chain from the outside had been sealed. Damn it. I threw the remnants of the wire hanger against the floor, faced the hallway, filled with warm light, and called for help. However, I just choked, unable to speak at all. Everyone's just down the corridor, and everything's peaceful there. I can't hear their voices, but I know. I'm sure they're all having a good time playing cards. Please, someone notice me. Senpai. Someone save me. Yuck! This time it wasn't the witch's voice. It was the happy voices of everyone else, which I could hear from the other end of the hallway. Someone come over here and save me! George slammed his last card down, ending the game with his victory once again. Everyone gasped in unison. The cousins' room was filled with laughter as they enjoyed their card game.
やっぱりジョージの兄貴が憎い。スペードの6が憎い。
バートラのダイヤの8もエグかったぜ。ああ、もう悔しい。
ジョージお兄ちゃんすごい。また。
そうだよ。また僕たちの勝ちだ。
Maria couldn't really hold her own in all that battle, so she had teamed up with George, which was why she was celebrating his victory. Ken winced and let his cards drop to the table. The game of sevens that Ken and the cousins had been playing had been a fierce battle. Normally, they would take things easy since Maria was there, so this sort of game was rare. Ken had started taking the game seriously, unwilling to lose, so George and Badler had responded, and the battle had grown fierce. Unlike Badler, who was carefree enough to enjoy it, whether he won or lost, Ken's mood changed drastically with every victory or defeat. It was less of a dislike for losing and more that he just wasn't used to playing games. He wasn't used to the idea that you win some, you lose some. So even a loss in a game played for fun was something he took very seriously. Since he had resolved to win and had unfortunately challenged the veteran players George and Badler, the result was plain to see. As Ken slumped his shoulders, Jessica slapped him on the back.
惜しかった惜しかったでも楽しいぜ本気で戦うのはね
本気だろうとそうでなかろうとは結果が負けでは何の意味も
とんでもない本気で戦った結果の負けならすがすがしいもんだぜ
いい加減に戦っての負けじゃん。本気出すから勝ってたうんぬんで未練タラタラでしょ。
If you lose after hardly trying, then you feel like grumbling and complaining about how you'd have won if you'd taken it seriously?
そうだな。全力を尽くしたやつは言い訳しない。そして結果に関わらず爽やかなもんさ。
そうだね。そしてそういう人間が一番怖いのさ。そこから必ず何かを学び成長するからね。
確かに僕は臆病だから何も学ばなかった。だから未だに未熟なんだ。
I am furniture, so it is useless to dream. Wait, didn't you just have this whole thing with Jessica? Like, Jessica, I love you. Because he had rigidly believed that he had distanced himself from everything and shut himself away. However, during that time, Shannon had undergo many life adventures, and now her hand rested on the door separating furniture and humans. The old canon would have seen this card game as a way to pass time. However, the new canon was now capable of gaining something new from this experience. That could probably be called growth. Furniture does nothing but rot with the passage of time. Being able to grow is a privilege given only to humans.
Ishoni 遊んでくれてありがとう。日誌とか書いたり忙しかったんだろ。付き合ってくれて本当にさ。
いいえ、僕も楽しかったです。いえ、これが楽しいことなんだって僕を無理に誘ってくれて。
Thank you for forcing me to go.
私たちはさ、もっともっといろいろなことに挑戦していこう。そして君が知らなかったものを探しに行こう。それさっきの話だけどさ、ギターとか興味ない？いや別に無理にとは言わないけど、
きっと難しいでしょうね。
まあね。でもさ、そこは丁寧に教えるし、練習は私も付き合うから。まあ言うほど私も上手くないんだけどね。
At first, Kenan was scared of touching a musical instrument for the first time in his life, certain he would make a complete fool of himself. He knew that screwing up like that would make him feel bad. However, Kenan was starting to learn.
初めてで下手なのは当たり前です。それから逃げてたら永遠に何も学べない。何にも至れない。
そうさ、だからこそ人は上達を実感して面白くなるんじゃねえかよ。私だって最初はさ、右手と左手が別々に動くってだけでもう全然。でも少しずつコツが分かってくると
僕もその境地に、そのための道の一つにお嬢様との音楽活動があるなら。
本当に？
はい、きっと最初は不出来でお嬢様を失望させてしまうこともあるでしょう。でも本気でやっての失敗だったら、それさっきお嬢様たちに教わりましたから。
照れるぜ。
お嬢様のことをもっと好きになりました。
もっと好き。
あなたは太陽のような人なのに、こんなにもずっと近くにいたのに。
じゃあもっと好きになってもらえるように。
Kenan's serious and competitive words were more than enough to make Jessica shy. However, Kenan's expression unexpectedly clouded.
僕がお嬢様を好きになれる理由はこんなにもはっきりしています。だから
何が？
お嬢様が僕を好きになる理由です。
Why would you start to like me?
お嬢様と違い僕は何も照らしてない。今だってお嬢様に照らされながら
I'm clinging
そ
to
の
your
背中に
back.
ついていってるだけです。そんなみすぼらしい僕をお嬢様が
そんなことはないぜ。カノン君にだっていいところはいい。
恥を忍んでお聞きします。お嬢様は僕の何が
Cannon hung his head. He never learned anything, so he had never been able to take the lead with her. It made him sad and frustrated that he had always been the one-sided recipient of her affection. He could do nothing but respond to it. Jessica was lost for words. After all, compared to the reason that Cannon had fallen for Jessica, Jessica's reasons was a lot more vague. She had listened to Shannon talk about her love with George. And at school, she and her friends always talked about relationships with boys. There was nothing strange about a girl fascinated by the idea of romance developing an interest in a nearby member of the opposite sex. However, if she were to put that into words, she would be misinterpreted as saying that any nearby boy would have done just as well. However, if nothing else, she knew that what she felt at this moment. She really did love Cannon, and she truly wanted a relationship with him. They might end up together as a result, or they might not. But whatever the outcome, she could accept it as long as she held nothing back. That allowed her to stay true to her feelings and what she knew she felt right now and act on them seriously. However, she couldn't find the right words to tell Cannon this. When Cannon saw Jessica bite her lower lip in frustration, he finally realized.
バカだな。僕のどこが気に入ったんですかなんて質問。本当にバカらしいと思ったんです。自分に本気じゃないから自分のことさえ理解できてない証拠なんだ。そんなことをお嬢様に言わせようとするなんて。
そんなことない。女の子だって男子に告白されたら最初に聞いてみたい質問だもん。自分のどこを気に入ってくれた。
それを相手に尋ねる時点で僕はそんな未熟者に気に入ってもらえるような。
いや、そうじゃなくて。
Jessica panicked, trying desperately to explain how she felt. However, Cannon was calm. And then he spoke.
だから僕がお嬢様を好きになるようお嬢様にも僕を好きになってほしい。そのために僕は自分を変えていくことにします。今はまだこんな自分をお嬢様に好きになってもらえるとはとってもいつか必ず。
ああ、絶対素敵なカノン君になれるよ。私がベタベタに惚れちゃうくらいの素敵な男の子になれる。私はそれまでずっと一緒にいるから。時間なんていくらでもある。
ただ時間がそうないのが悔やまれます。
There isn't that much time left. Ooh, what does he know?
時間って
家具の話をするとお嬢様が悲しまれます。
Talking about furniture usually sounds.
でも話さなければなりません。そしてそれは僕が本気で戦わなければならないことでもあるのです。
何の話？家具だから恋ができないとかそういう話ならもう聞きたくないよ。カノン君は家具なんかじゃない。
はい、だから人間になろうと思います。ですがまだ家具な。
ならなろうよ、人間に。
かつて魔女は教えてくれました。この世の一なる元素、それは愛だと。それはこの世に住まう人間は、しかし家具として生み出されたこの世ならざる身に、その当たり前でないものを得るには魔法か奇跡が必要。
In the same way that Nissan and George Selma would never have ended up as they have without borrowing the power of that golden butterfly brooch.
さっきからこれがわからないの。
何がわからぬというか、聞かせよ。
今回のゲームが始まり、短くない時間がシャノンやカノンの恋への決意に割かれてきたわ。それ自体は自らを家具と蔑んできた少年少女の青春の決意と成長の物語と好意的に見てもいい。でも二人のある前提にさっきから強い違和感を覚えるの。
One of the assumptions they make feels really out of place.
なぜ魔法が必要なのかであるか。
シャノンもカノンも、いえ、あえて家具と呼ぶわ。家具たちは最初から一貫して人間とは恋愛ができないとし、そこに黄金蝶のブローチという魔法が介在し、その魔法という奇跡の結果、そう主張してるわ。
身分の違いによる許されぬ恋が実るには魔法の奇跡でもないことには。
そうね。だから使用人の身分であるシャノンとカノンが共に後ろ許されざる恋に苦悩して自らを家具と卑下したとしても、それは納得できるの。
This barrage.
ではそなたの納得できない点とは。
再び魔法の力がなければ結婚はできない。それがシャノンとカノンの二人の共。これがどうしてもよく理解できないの。
After meeting in secret for quite some time, George and Shannon had finally gotten engaged. Both were fully prepared for it emotionally, and though there would be some impossible for anyone to prevent, and though there would be some trouble with the relatives, it had gotten to the point where it would be impossible for anyone to prevent their marriage.
結ばれようとする二人の間に立つなぞ。飛ぶ矢の前に立ちてそれをつかも。
そういうこと。伴侶を生涯守りきると誓ったジョージお兄ちゃんにとって、両親の反対やむしろそれらさえも彼女への愛を示すちょうどいい試練だとさえ思っているわ。つまり二人は必ず結婚する。誰も拒めない。そして二人は婚約を快諾。
誰にも拒めない、阻めない、馬に蹴られてなんとやらであるな。
そう。だから不思議なの。魔法なんて必要ない。
No need for magic. If George and Shannon had wanted Ava's approval for their engagement, then magic really might have been necessary. After all, Ava had forbidden his relationship with her. No matter how much George spoke on Shannon's behalf, the chances of Ava being convinced were virtually zero. If that were the case, it would be understandable if they wanted a magical miracle to make Ava acknowledge their engagement.
しかし、ジョージお兄ちゃんはきっぱりと誓ってるわ。両親に婚約を認められなくても構わないと。そう。二人の婚約を阻む理由は何も。そしてそれはシャノンだってよく知ってるはず。なのになぜ彼女はこの順風満帆の婚約を受けたこの夜になおも魔法の奇跡を祈るの？
I guess there's still potential obstacles or unforeseen obstacles that can happen.
魔法の奇跡を得なければ結ばれる資格もないというのが家具たちの主張であるな。
つまりこういうこと。 シャノンはジョージの婚約を受けているけど、魔法の奇跡がなければ成就されない障害が残っていると知っていることになる。そしてその障害は2人の努力では取り除けないとも。だから魔法という奇跡が必要。どうして魔法がいるの？愛し合う2人に結ばれるための他にどんな奇跡が必要だっていうの？
ふむ、なるほど。
Featherine listened to Anji's interpretation, smiling in a satisfied way. Like her thinking face. So, is it like the servants predicted these murders would happen? Smiling in a satisfied way. Apparently, she had already reached that conclusion and was enjoying watching Anji finally manage to do the same.
そしてその疑問はカノンにも向けられ、ジェシカお姉ちゃんとの恋路は始まったばかりだけど、2人の気持ちはまっすぐ。何の障害もないわ。黄金蝶のブローチの力なんか関係なく、もう恋仲に慣れてる。
Yeah, and Canon specifically said, after tonight.
何年もの交際を経て、やがては結婚に行き着いても、こっちも障害は何も。
クラウスと夏日に結婚を認めさせようと思わない限り、こちらもまた。
そういうこと。
The magic they're looking for is to survive the whatchamacallums. Twilights.
シャノンの生き方を見て、カノンもまた生き方、そして素直な気持ちを伝え、ジェシカお姉ちゃんと2人で恋路を歩み始めた。必要ないのよ、もはや魔法は。片思いの相手になら恋のおまじないも必要かもしれない。でももはや両者意思も疎通できてる。なのにどうしてその上、
Both pieces of furniture are in relationships of mutual love. There shouldn't be any need for a miracle any longer. So why do they still desire a miracle of magic? And on top of that, the single brooch is portrayed as bestowing only a single miracle. It feels almost as though Shannon is hesitating, because if she uses up that miracle for herself, Cannon's chances at love will be automatically sealed away for eternity.
つまりこういうことよ。どうして家具は恋をしてはいけないの？
魔法という奇跡なくしては、なぜ恋が許されぬことになっているのか。
そして堅くなに恋ができないと嘆いていた家具たちに、それを許すことのできる黄金蝶のプロ、一体何だ。
Oh, he bees.
もちろん魔法の結晶であるぞ。
Crystallization of
ただ
magic.
し、多くの魔法と同様に、半魔法の毒素で焼かれもする。
Her past life was your mom.
Oh, Coco, mommy. I miss you. Oh, you became a shell.
Like most magics, it can be burnt by the anti-magic toxin.
つまり魔女や魔法を信じる者にしか効果がないということなんですね。
So it can only have an effect for those who believe in magic and witches.
その通りだ。よってわらわと交流することができたシャノンにはその効果を発揮した。しかしもしシャノンがそのブローチを砂浜に落とし、そのものが半魔法の毒をまとっていたら、ブローチの魔法はそういうことだ。魔女のアイテムは直接の手渡しでなければ、しかし魔女の存在を大勢の人間が認めることで半魔法の毒素がなくなり、大勢の人間がそのアイテムの魔力を信じれば、はあ、皮肉な話ですね。
Wait, what? What? Let me see. What's going on? Yeah. You're scared of what?
Went into the deep rabbit hole
I'm thinking?
of life regression, past life regression, and on Reddit, and I've seen some very disturbing stories about little kids remembering their past life. One boy even found the killer
What?
and buried and found the body, that and the family said everything was true.
Jeez. Creepy.
Yeah, I wanna.
Oh, I think I've heard of that story.
And when I closed my eyes, I saw a white old man. I think that was me past life.
You were a white old man?
Yeah, it looked like Einstein.
Oh.
Maybe I was Albert Einstein. Maybe that's why I'm so smart.
That's why I'm attracted to you, because of the theory of relativity.
And Coco was my mom past life. Oh, Coco. I was a cat past life. She gave birth to me.
However, in just the same way that a witch can manifest herself, this existence acknowledged by a great many humans.
I'm just here for I read the news. They found a severed body bag in Forest Hills.
What?
Yeah. There were like trails of blood of a dismembered body.
Serial killer?
No, dismembered body in a bag found in a park in Queens. People are so unhinged.
Truly. Alright. Let's head to bed. Good night. Sleep tight. I went longer than I expected to. Night, night, daydream.